fine. Nobody cares about the featured video. Yes. Okay. Apparently, I am live. Let me go silent. Anthony. Okay, so I am live. Good. How's it going, mister? Since you're the only one here, I can actually take the time to type to you. Get rid of that. You know, it's funny. I'm still not great at knowing when, like, I'm live versus when, you know, I think I'm streaming and I'm not. But this looks pretty good. Okay. Tenenbaum's here too. Hey, man. I'm not moving. How's about that? Boiler Room, how's it going? Do you guys see me moving? Because I'm just going to take a look. Live control room. I'm in the live control room. Okay. What do we got over here? Go back to the live control room. It's weird because like it tells me that I'm streaming, but Salut Simon. Okay, so you guys are seeing me. Okay, that's fine. Let me know if I stop moving again, because it might be a buffering issue or blah blah, you know. Mike Morton's here too. You know, it's funny because the video I put up yesterday, which is actually doing fairly well, Mike played a pretty integral role in me getting those trousers. So that video is all about you, Mike. Ok, Simon, merci. Je comprends, là, je comprends. So what my plan for this live stream was to start gluing up the birch bark. This is not glued. I just put the bark into these clamps just to sort of flatten it out, straighten out, just to straighten it out a bit because it was all curved and it was all like bent. So I've been looking up how to do this, and it seems that the best way to do it, there are a couple of ways to do it, but I'm not going to do it a couple of ways. I'm going to select one and go with it. But one of the ways that that I've seen online a lot is that you drill 2 little holes in each piece of bark and then cut out the strip in between, and that way you can just sort of start slipping it onto the knife. So maybe that's what I'm going to do. What do you guys think? Anyone got a better idea? And then, so do I glue it up in little blocks, or do I use epoxy? I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I'm figuring I'll start by just making the holes. Oh, boy, the Fjallraven pants are like 175 Canadian. Hold on. I'm just going to look that up for you. When I figure out how to spell Fjallraven. Fjallraven? Fjall. You know, it's embarrassing to me that I can't pronounce that word right, because I always sort of, no matter what language a word is in, I always try to really sort of nail the pronunciation, and I just keep buggering that one. Okay. Let me... Vita Pro trousers. They are $179.99 Canadian. So I don't remember if you're in Canada or the States, buddy. You want to help me out there? I think you're in the States, so they're going to be less than that, probably. I'm just verifying a few things here. Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure that I'm still broadcasting. Okay. I'll write it down there. In the States? Okay, hold on. Fjallraven in the States is obviously not called fjallravencanada.com. Maybe it's just fjallraven.com. No. Hold on. I'll get that for you. If you guys were nice enough to watch the video, I'm nice enough to find you. Yeah, I totally forgot to put the price on there. Sorry, guys. I feel very good about that. I also, 150 bucks, starting at 150 bucks. So, it's not as big a price difference as I thought it was going to be. But, yeah. See, well, you can definitely use epoxy, but you need a size. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do epoxy. Blah. You know? Maybe just, I've got wood glue. I got some wood glue. Maybe I'll use that. I don't know, because the reason why I'm hesitating, look, if you go straight up traditional, you're not using any kind of glue, right? You just put them together and then, you know, squeezing them up and peening the back end, the back of the tang, right? And so the reason I don't want to use wood glue is because I don't know how wet this handle is going to get, so I don't know how that's going to behave. By the way, who brought beer? Everyone who brought beer, tell me what you brought. Tell me that you guys remembered to bring beer. Because I'm going to bring a beer to every one of these little meetings of ours. Tenenbaum, yeah. But I think everything's a little expensive in Sweden, isn't it? You know, it kind of reminds me, well, it's probably not the same thing, but last time we were in New York visiting the missus's family, you can buy Canadian winter boots in Manhattan for less than you get them up here, just because that's the way the economies of scale work, you know? Which to a certain extent kind of bugs me, but I did get great boots at a great price, so anyway. Jeff, our videos, hi buddy. So Simone says that wood glue would work even if I'm getting these wet out in the bush. I don't know. But that's the thing. Okay, as long as I can almost soak it in the glue. I don't want to use too much glue. I don't know. Tonight I'm gonna carve my holes. Oh yeah, right. Boiler Room doesn't drink, but he'll do a. So, who's ready to see what I brought today? Yeah, Tenenbaum, exactly. Swedish stuff is always less expensive in the U.S. than anywhere else. Simone, yeah, I've got the yellow glue. Yeah, I don't use the white glue for anything. Paper. It's another Archibald. Ma tante. Crap, that's going to be backwards, isn't it? Ma tante is a blonde ale, even though she's not blonde. I don't know, Archibald. Anyway. It's a fine taste. So, no, seriously, did anyone else bring beer? You know, it's funny because I'm not much into... I'm okay with blonde ales. Like, I hate white beers. I'm not a big IPA guy. I like the Russ, whatever they're called. Red, brown ales, stout. You know, the darker the better as far as I'm concerned. But I have had a couple of... I've had a couple of IPAs that I've liked quite a bit. I've had a couple of, like, blonde ales or... you know, other stuff like that I like quite a bit. My palate has expanded a lot over the past few years. Let me see. Boilerroom says them Swedes make some mighty fine steel. I agree. I'm a big fan of Swedish stuff. You know, it's funny because Anthony says a hole punch and a quarter-inch bolt with large flat washers on each end. Is that for the handle? What I was going to say about Swedish-made stuff is I don't have the same knee-jerk crap made in China reaction as a lot of people do, for a couple of reasons. One, if you've ever seen Chinese-made stuff for use in China, it tends to be a lot better than the stuff we have them build for us, because you know we lay a price expectation on them that is impossible without slave labor. But second, my big problem with Made in China is I am not convinced that the ecological footprint isn't awful. Even though they're doing way more than we are on like car efficiency and air pollution, I'm not convinced that the paint doesn't always have lead in it, or that the runoff isn't poisoning all the rivers, or that's the kind of thing that I don't want my money going towards, you know? I don't want my goods to be made by people making $1 a day. So these are my issues. I like stuff. Wait, hold on, let me go back. Keeps the holes lined up while the glue dries. A hole punch and a quarter-inch bolt with large flat washers on each end. Oh, you mean just to sort of hold it while the glue dries? Outdoor Dauber. Salut monsieur, comment ça va? Monsieur? Madame? Il n'y a pas de photo, so je suis pas certain. Boiler room. I don't have a lathe, but yeah, it's a stacked birch bark handle. I'm gonna do it the old-fashioned way on my belt sander, so not really old-fashioned, but by hand. I should probably get started on that. I'm talking about beer and blah blah blah, and not getting anything done. Now what I know is to make the slot go across the grain rather than with it, so that it doesn't snap while I'm working. What's going to be interesting about this is the knife tang tapers a lot, so I'm essentially going to have to keep the pieces in order as I go. And as I said, I've never done this before, so I'm just going with what looks like it's gonna work. Which reminds me, drill bit. Looks about right. Boiler, how large is the tang? Do you mean like how long it is, or how wide? Tabarnak. Sorry, they got. For those of you who don't know, I shouldn't have used that word online. Live. I like to keep it family friendly. Simon says I have a lathe, I just don't know about it. Oh. You mean you're talking about my drill press, aren't you? I hadn't thought of that. Or are you talking about something else that I don't know about? So here's what I do. I guess I'll drill one hole, hope for the best, and then measure it out. Right? Because I don't want to make it too... Maybe I'll use a clamp. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. Just drill a 1/4 inch hole. You'll be able to deal with fitting the tank. I don't know, man. Look. Right? It's like that. And then, like, it goes from... I don't know what that is. Hang about. Okay, that's just over a 1/4 inch, but then it goes down to like something minuscule. Actually, it's a 1/2 inch. It's a full-on 1/2 inch up here. And then it goes down to like an 1/8 or an 1/8. I am learning my inches for the sake of all you YouTubers. Drill the hole, then use a rat tail file or for final fit. Then epoxy the tang into the handle. I don't think I have a rat tail file, but I'm not going to finish this off tonight, so I can definitely pick one up. So you're saying I shouldn't be doing the 2 holes and then cutting the slot? Is that what you're saying? Hold on. Interesting. Very interesting. So maybe I won't do this tonight then. Actually, this beer is pretty light for a Quebec beer. This is 4.9%. How much? Yeah, the one I had last time, the chippy, is 5%. That's a little more what I was expecting. Yeah, I've been sort of lowering the alcohol content of my beer lately. I used to drink a lot of stuff by Unibrew, which is a local... they used to be a craft beer maker, but they're owned by someone big now, I think. And like everything they make is like somewhere between 8 and 11%. And I found that down around the 8 I can kind of handle, but once you get up to like 10 or 11%, you just taste too much alcohol. Like it overpowers the flavor of the beer, you know? So these days I like to keep it around 5 or 6%. Here are the bolsters. I think I showed you guys the bolsters. There's the rear bolster. And here's the front one. They're nicely fitted. Got a little bit of work to do, but that's not too much. That I can just file. The bark is very thin. Look, check it out. Like, yeah, totally gonna do X-Acto knife if that's the way I go. Absolutely. Just let me check something out here. Okay. Is Mike Morton still here? What are you drinking, buddy? Let me know. Did any of you guys watch the live stream with Mike and Joe Robinette? They were drinking some beer and burping and farting up a storm. I gotta try more Ontario brew. Every time I go to Ontario, I find something to like, you know? Yeah, but Simon, Unibrew and Sapporo are both owned by someone, aren't they? I think they're both owned by someone sort of big and faceless. I don't remember who. I don't remember who it is. See if I have anything else to show you guys. I guess not. Whoa, Mike isn't having beer tonight. What the hell, man? What's going on with that? I really liked that big ass piece of pork in your Instagram today. That must have been delectable. You know, you can't meet. You can't meet? Shut up, Jesse. You can't beat a big hunk of something cooked over a fire like that. You know, even if it's just sausages or something, man, as soon as it's cooked over a fire and you can taste the bushcraft in it, it's just like, damn, that's a fine meal. So yeah, I really liked Anthony's having water with lemon. I used to drink hot water with lemon all the time, just before bed. I haven't done that in a while. I don't know why. $5 for that big ass hunk of pork? How'd you pull that off, man? How'd you pull that off? We got some nice pork in our freezer, I'll tell you. We bought a half a pig. Like we bought it as a youngin', and then they grew bigger, and then they slaughtered it and gave half of it to us. And it wasn't too expensive. It was like $300 for a half a pig plus $100 for the butchery. I think next year we're gonna buy a whole pig though, because half a pig doesn't really last as long as you'd think. When, oh gee, it's Tuesday, what are we gonna do? I don't know. I'll just throw a pork roast in the crock pot kind of thing, you know. Simone's having water and ice. Outdoor dauber. Yeah, you got a smoker? Man, I envy you that, because I cannot have anything that burns wood in my neighborhood. Just give me a second here, folks. No, that did not work. Schnoot. Oh well. I forgot to hit the airplane mode on my phone before starting this, and I don't want to go dicking around in case in case I inadvertently end the live stream. Oh, yeah, boiler rooms in the Ozarks, man. I gotta check that out. I gotta check it out at some point. I gotta get into the bush a lot more often. You know, it's funny because I have this terrible car. It's not a terrible car. It's an old car. Okay, it's been running forever without a complaint. And my original plan for 2018 was to take it and get it scrapped today, so that I wouldn't have to pay the registration on it. But here's the thing. You know how I've been shooting my videos in a little patch of woodland lately? Here's what I do every week. Saturday rolls around. The girls go to Cody's ballet class, and I rocket the crap out to that little patch of land and shoot a video. If I scrap my car, suddenly I don't have a car to go out to that stupid little patch of land when the girls go to ballet. So though the missus said, well, look, just drive us to ballet and then go and shoot, and we'll take the bus home. That's fabulous, but I'd feel bad about it. You know, I mean, I'm grateful that she's actually, being supportive in this way and everything. But I would just feel like I'm using them, you know. So I didn't scrap the car today. I paid the damned registration. I don't know how long that car's gonna last though. It's like every time I drive it somewhere, I'm like, come on, baby, just last another 3 blocks, you know. And it's because at this point it would cost more to get it up and going well than it's worth. And whereas historically I have not cared about that, because getting it up and going, even at $1,200 a shot or whatever, is still a hell of a lot less than buying a new car. The fact is, now it hurts me to spend money on it, you know. It's not going to last the entire year. I don't need it to. I just need it to last a little while longer. Because I'm getting set up to buy something else. this year at some point. So, you know. Oh, I better boiler, what happened to the new cameras? I don't use, well, it's right. Woo. I don't use it for live streaming because I don't know how to live stream on like a full camera setup. On the phone here, it's simple. You know, I've got an app on the phone. It's shooting at 720p because the camera on this side of the phone is a 720p camera. That bugs me, but you know, it's easy. And it's funny that you mentioned that because there's a site called Wistia or something. They build a excuse me. Oh no, not again. Excuse me, guys. It's because of the beer. They build a live streaming setup that's based on an Apple box, and it's got like some goosenecks coming off it. One for a camera, one for a light, one for a mic. I mean, they sell them as kits with the cameras and stuff. And I was thinking about that pretty hard today. It's, you know, since I've been demonetized, I can't really justify it. But if I hit my 4,000 hours, I'll start looking at it again, maybe for the end of the year or something. You know. Get a propane smoker. Yeah, I've heard that too. We don't really have wild boar around here. Sometimes my family does. I don't know what's a michui in English. You know, when you put an animal on a spit and you slow roast it over a fire. The first one I went to, not my family, the in-laws. The first one I went to, they were doing a boar. It was very tasty. It's funny because I wasn't. It's a taste that I kind of had to get used to. And so when I first tasted it, I was like, meh. But now I regret not just chowing down on it because it's a pretty good taste. Wow, last Labor Day, Outdoor Dauber did a 12-pound shoulder, 10 pounds of leg quarters, and 5 pounds of smoked baked potatoes. Really? That sounds pretty damn good. Yeah, I don't know. The camera should attach via USB. Absolutely. In fact, it works wirelessly as well. I should really just try it out at some point. Thing is, I don't want to start a I don't want to schedule a live stream and start it and have everything not work. So it'll be on a night when I'm just like, okay, I've got some time, let's try this out. And if it works, it's great. If anyone's online, it's great. If not, you know, who cares? But I also have to find a software solution for that too, right? Something to run on my computer. Wow, that sounds like a lot of boars down there. Thanks to anyone who's been watching my Fjallraven pants review, by the way. I'm happy to see it getting some numbers. I wasn't sure because you know how some guys, when they do too many reviews, it sort of puts people off. But I have a lot of reviews planned. And so the fact that this one didn't get ignored really that works for me. I'm very happy about that. Also, I put a lot of work into that one. I had to edit around a lot because, man, Cody and I were getting soaked. Like, everything stopped and then it just again. And so then we weren't happy. And, you know, I was trying not to get grumpy. And she was really trying hard not to, you know, not to complain. But, man, we weren't having a good time. So we just went and got hot chocolate and went home. And I finished it down here while she sort of warmed up and did some coloring. But like editing that one took a long time because I had to edit around so much crap, you know. And then I went and forgot to put the price of the pants in. Slacking off, Jess. When I was in high school, the kiddies used to call these funk tickets. And so you would give one to someone who you kind of wanted to get down with. Silly the things we come up with when we're like 14 to 16, eh? Wasn't really called a funk ticket, by the way. I'm just keeping it family friendly. Man, I hated high school. Excuse me. Microwave until soft, cut them in half, scoop a small hollow out. Oh, that's the potatoes. Okay, fill it with butter, sprinkle coarse salt, and wow, man, okay. Yep, I would eat that all day long. Yeah, I don't think it would be complicated either, but you know, getting the Wi-Fi to work from the camera to the computer was supposed to be simple too, and it don't work. It's funny because my wife is having the same problem with her Nikon, so maybe it's not just that Canon's technology sucks. Maybe camera makers just need to hire more computer guys or something, you know? In fact, I think they should, because this phone that I'm shooting on, for the generation below mine, these things are what people shoot with. Right? Those little micro four thirds cameras that everyone thought were going to really go, hit and just go, because everyone's already shooting on an iPhone or a Samsung or whatever. And what needs to happen is that the interface on my Canon has to be more like the interface on a cell phone if they want to keep selling big cameras to people who are not like filmmakers, you know? Because the fact is, the cameras on these phones are good enough that the call for a DLS shoot, that the call for a DSLR these days is not as loud as it used to be. You can get fabulous photos on a whole lot of phones now. What I need to be a happy camper with that camera is to flip open the screen and have an iPhone-like interface where I can just do. Right now it's still way too previous generation, you know? And it doesn't stop me from using the ADD, but it does stop me from dicking around with the settings as much as I should be doing. Yeah, I'm not going to use Wi-Fi. I mean, it's too slow anyway to do a live stream. Really, well, no, it's not, because I'm doing it on. I'm using Wi-Fi for the iPhone. But because I would be going Wi-Fi from the camera to the computer and then out into the world, too much to go wrong. So yeah, I would just do USB. I'll look into it for the next one, because yeah, it'll give me a much better picture quality. Huh. It would give me much better picture quality, and because of the mic, it would give me better sound quality. So yeah, hell yeah. Oh no. Hold on. What's going on? Am I still streaming? Primary stream. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. And then right there it says health is good. I don't know. Am I still here, guys? Simone, if you are there, yes, I know that there's an alternative firmware for Canon cameras. In fact, I would love to run it because it just opens up the capabilities like you wouldn't believe. For those of you who don't know, what he's talking about is called Magic Lantern. And that didn't happen. And the thing about Magic Lantern is it makes the Canon work the way it really should work. If Canon gave a damn about its user base, they would I don't know, buy Magic Lantern and just replace, their firmware with that. The problem is, because Magic Lantern, it's it's freeware, it's third party, it's not supported, it can brick your camera, and if you kill your camera with a Magic Lantern install, it's permanently wrecked apparently. So I don't want to do it until, like, maybe I have two ADDs at one point or something. One is a backup camera. I'll Magic Lantern one, and it's also non-trivial to install. For guys who are serious techies, who cares? That's part of the fun. But it's not a seamless installation experience. You really have to know what you're doing. I am not convinced. And for what these cameras cost, look, if I win 30 mil tomorrow, I'll buy one just to put a Magic Lantern on it. I'll buy one just to put Magic Lantern on it. Oh, and I'll buy a 60 Mark II as my main camera. But even though, like, everything about Magic Lantern is exciting to me, not while I've only got one camera to work with. Okay. Yeah, but Simon, how long are we before 802.11ax is really a factor, right? I'm just sort of reading back what you guys, Eric. Yes, okay, so I wasn't. It's weird because sometimes I get a message that, oh, you've disappeared, and people are like, no, you haven't. So I guess this was one of those times. Everyone see my t-shirt? I figured since I'm trying to sell the damn things, I may as well showcase one of them, right? One thing you guys may be interested in, but I can't really talk too much about it, is that I have a collab coming up. Hike with Mike. Hey, how's it going, mister? How you doing? I'm not getting any work done on this birchbark handle. I guess I will just accept it. That this is, you got a Sony Alpha. Yeah. Man, when those came out, that kind of, all of us Canon guys were like, oh. And still, Canon just brought out a crop sensor camera, like, we're seriously cropped, like a micro no, it's not a micro four thirds, but it's a real crop sensor camera that shoots at 4K. Like, they're bringing it out right now, and it's a Canon. Here's the thing. Canon now is like Apple in the 90s. They have too many models, okay, and they're in danger of their models cannibalizing sales of other models, and everyone except Canon has a really affordable 4K camera out now. So they brought out this thing, whatever it's called, the M5, or I don't remember, M50? No, it's M5. I don't remember. Anyways, it's one of their, like, non-prosumer, like, straight consumer cameras. And great, it shoots in 4K, so I was like, oh. But the reason I bought this ADD is for that dual pixel autofocus, which is legendary. And they don't have it in the 4K on that camera. Oh, it's going yellow. If I lose you guys, I'm sorry. It's not my fault. Blame the technology. But, like, because it's that tiny sensor, like, the picture is really cropped. Like, for vlogging, it would be awkward to use because you need something a little more wide open. And the fact that amazing focus doesn't work in 4K means when I decide to put a 4K camera in my interior studio for, like, product reviews, like, so when I'm holding something up, boom, serious close up without losing the quality, it's not going to be a Canon. It'll probably be like a GH5 or something. I've had it with Canon deciding that they think they know what I need. I'm done, you know. And so for my outdoor camera, this and a 6D Mark II will be fabulous because I'm only going to show my videos in 1080. Right? The reason I want 4K is so that I can do like a massive zoom in. So, you know, hey, look, I'm showing off this blah, blah, blah. Oh, and look, here it says, you know, here's a maker's mark. Foomp. That's what 4K is to me. It's not putting up, you know, I'm not Peter McKinnon. I'm not putting my videos up in 4K. But I love and like if you're smoothing out like camera shake and stuff, when you got 4K, you got a lot more to play with. Anyways. Anyway, so that's why. How did I get on that? Does anyone remember what I was talking about? Why did I start talking about that? I have no idea why I started talking about that. There we go. That's better. Better. Someone's got to tell me why I started talking about that. Hike with Mike, what am I drinking? I'm drinking Ma Tante by Archibald. Half the fun of Ma Tante. I'm not going to say that. Never mind. I'm not going to say that. It's a blonde ale, 4.9%, made here in Quebec, in Quebec City. So, a few hours drive up the river from here. Let me just make sure I'm not losing you guys. Yeah, boiler. That's the thing. I don't want to show in 4K. You know, I don't need that kind of. Ow. I don't need that kind of resolution going out there. You know, I want that. Why am I talking about this? I don't remember what the catalyst was that got me talking about the camera. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, because, okay, Boiler Room asked me about the new camera, and I just went down a rabbit hole. Yeah, that's legit. That's totally legit. I've got so much birch bark here. I can't wait to have this knife handle made, guys. I gotta tell you. I'm gonna be so damn happy. I really want to try my hand at knife making. I don't know if I'll be any good at it at first, but I think it's legit worth trying. Here's a question. Wait. Yeah, it was you. Have any of you guys done this? Have any of you guys made a birch bark handle? I'm wondering how much, like how smooth either side has to be, or if, you know, crunching it all up and maybe gluing it or epoxying it is gonna have a like a smoothing out effect, because like this side is obviously no problem. Well, on this one that side's no problem either, but like this side has some like a residual layer of did I show you guys this? I'll talk about that in a minute. Of like, there's the residue from another layer of whatever the underbark is called. And I don't know if I should be trying to scrape that off or if it's going to be fine. Yeah, I did show you guys this. See, even after the Wrangler Star effect, they came back into they were back in stock at Amazon.ca. Those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Wrangler Star discovered this, what's this knife called? Morik Knife Chisel. Okay. It's a chisel knife, right? See, it's a chisel grind, flat on the back, chisel ground on the front. He discovered this knife, said he liked it. Amazon sold it and the prices went up. That man has an effect on stuff. Like, man. Wonder how powerful it must feel to say, I like this, and to have that happen. Like, within the week. You know? Simone. You know what? Simone's right about that. When 4K and super high def first hit, Hollywood didn't love it because suddenly, like, if you think of actresses like Angelina Jolie, whose whole thing was how bloody gorgeous they were, suddenly you could see how much stuff had been smoothed out by the fact that TVs and stuff weren't at 4K. And so he's right. You know, suddenly a makeup artist has to do a whole lot more. And it's funny because specifically Angelina, now that she looks more her age, I think she looks fabulous. I think she's acting better than she used to. I think she looks fabulous because she looks more mature and stuff. I mean, she's not the same sort of sex symbol as she used to be, but she's still a great looking woman. I find the roles she's taking are more interesting. Like, and I don't know how much of that comes down to the fact that everything wasn't suddenly smoothed out anymore. The word suddenly shouldn't have been there, but anyways. Or how much of it is just her maturing as an actor and as a person, but I'm not someone who requires his actors and actresses to look 25 into their 50s. You know, I'm accepting the fact that these people get older. Now, I'm saying this, you know, I'm entering the dark side of 45 now. I'll be 46 on the 21st of May. But, you know, man, it's just the whole cult of youth thing pisses me off. It even pissed me off when I was young and I was in a film school. You know, that stuff just bugs me. Okay, Boiler, that's a good point. That's not power, that's consumerism. Yes, you're right. You're right. But I guess I meant like how it must feel to have that effect. You know? Because he's not even at 1 million subs. He's getting pretty close, but like Casey Neistat doesn't even have that kind of effect. Although I think when he bought the ADD, I think there are a lot of people who vlog using what his setup was at a certain point. Rode VideoMic Pro, ADD, Joby GorillaPod tripod, which incidentally is almost the same setup I have. I don't have the VideoMic Pro. It's funny because I did a blog post that went up yesterday about my filming equipment. If anyone's interested, my blog is at RaindanceBushcraft.wordpress.com. I'm pretty damn sure I put a link in the show notes. I'm trying to get some readership over there. Oh, come on. Anyway, I have the video mic, not the Pro, just because it was way more affordable. The sound quality is pretty good though. Well, you guys are the judge of that. You know, it's the mic I've been using lately, just for simplicity's sake. Because you know, I used to use that lav mic and put it into my Zoom H1, but because I work 9 to 5, I can't get up at 11, so I can't work on my editing until like 3 or 4 anymore. So what I give up is the fact that Canon's onboard sound preamps are terrible. So you really have to mess with the settings on the mic. But it's just simpler. I may go back to using the lav mic at some point, but especially if I'm standing further away from the camera. Like for at least part of my pants review, I really should have had the lav mic on. But, you know, whatevs. Okay. Whoop. I'm gonna go back. Simone has a Simone has the Mastercraft version of this chisel, and it's funny because I think, if I remember correctly, it's bigger than this, isn't it, Simone? It's a bigger chisel, and it's nicer, I think, in some ways than this one. But I'm never gonna find that, and this was affordable as hell, so I'm happy with it. Let me see. Almost 42. Yeah. Okay, so there's a bunch of us. There's a bunch of us old folks on here then. Oh, I'm almost at the end. Just scrolling back to make sure I'm not missing anyone. Okay, cool. It's cold down in here, man. I may have to cover up my do-it-yourself marketing on the t-shirt here, because this unfinished part of the basement has no heat, which means it's a great place to keep, like, say, a massive bag of carrots or apples or whatever, anything that you're supposed to keep cool. But it does mean that sitting here and doing these live streams and my videos and stuff, sometimes I'm downright uncomfortable. I'll admit that I'm not watching as much Wrangler Star as I used to. And I'm not blaming him for that, because I feel that he has run into the issue that successful YouTubers probably all run into at one point, and that's that there are only so many axe sharpening videos he can make. And he's obviously always sort of on the lookout for new and interesting content to bring to the table. But what it means is that I find myself missing the old stuff. You know? For instance, I don't give a damn about motocross or whatever those bikes are called. You know? I used to do a lot of mountain biking, but I like sports where I am the moving part in terms of, like, I think they call that kind of stuff self-propelled activities, right? Mountain biking, where you're paddling, cross-country running, or hiking, or, you know, like, I like things where there's no engine involved. I love sailing. I don't really like powerboating. And so I don't really find that there's much there for me right now at this stage. I think that new kid of theirs is cute as hell. I love just the way Cody and his wife interact. Like, I love seeing them on camera together. It's clear that sometimes his wife is less comfortable with it than Cody is, but you know, I like the way those two look at each other, you know. But I'm having a hard time not skipping past the videos these days. I loved it when he got that sawmill, because I want one of those. I have no room. I live in a city, okay? I have no room, and I don't have a pile of logs. But man, when I saw that, I was like, I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna make beams. I'm gonna build something, you know. But yeah, and I feel bad not watching the videos, because he's one of my comfort food. He's one of my comfort food channels. Like, when I used to have time, I would get up and I would always put on the same few channels, because it's just like the sound of their voice, their, you know, the stuff they're talking about, the way they put their videos together. It was comfort food to me. And, you know, obviously Casey Neistat, because he's a major influence of mine, obviously. Kidding. But no, I really liked Casey Neistat for a long time. I don't watch everything he does anymore either. At the same time, Philip DeFranco, I watched him every day. I still watch him every day. Wrangler Star, you know. Those were like my every morning at breakfast kind of things. It's funny how that changes, because now, like, I watch Peter McKinnon virtually every day, every time I put something up, almost every time. I watch almost everything that Travel Feels puts out. I'll watch anything by Scrambled O twice. I'll watch anything by Joe Robinette, so long as it's not 2 hours. You know, it's funny because I have a real hard threshold at like 59 minutes or an hour. And it's not because I get bored, it's because I can't justify the time because I have other videos to watch. Because I try, especially guys who are subscribed to me, I try to keep up on their stuff and just drop them a note every now and again, you know, just to show that it's reciprocal. But I can't do a 2-hour video, and so, you know, and it's too bad because, man, I love watching those guys. They're like my comfort food at this point. Just want to say, if any of you guys know Scrambled Out, get on his ass and say to put another video up, will ya? Who you calling old, folks? Isn't that a heater on the wall behind me? Yes. Yes, and you know what? It does not work. It's old. Can you hear me? It's old as hell. The only reason it's still there is because I just whatever. But like, see, I've turned it on, and the fan is not turning, and these the coils are not going to heat up, and it's just going to suck up energy for nothing. We're going to replace it at some point, you know, but there are so many things to do in this house that it's kind of down the list a little bit, you know. See, well, the Mastercraft chisel was cheaper than the Morknave. It is a bit longer, yeah. It has a double bevel, really? Oh, you mean it's got a bevel on both sides like this? It's not beveled. It's chisel beveled, right? It's just it has a chisel bevel up the spine as well, doesn't it? Am I misremembering your knife there, dude? Your chisel? I should get one of those. I really liked it. I mean, I like Mora's and everything as well, but you know. I am not restoring that. Here's the thing. When I was like 15 or 16, I was working, I was on a job site with my dad. We were doing like a renovation of like a room that was, well, I'm doing this, but it was right under the roof, so it had a major slope on it, and we were cutting a skylight into the roof and all kinds of stuff. And I was up on a ladder, an aluminium ladder, and there was a hole there where we were going to be putting in a light or a fan or some damn shit stuff. And my dad said, "Don't touch those two wires." And I said, "What, those two?" Let me do that again. He said, "Don't touch those two wires." I said, "What, these two?" And I got knocked on my ass by the zap. And since then, I've always kind of had a little scarediness of the electricities. So like whenever we've had to replace a light switch or something, my wife is the one who's done it, because she's like, "Sissy, look what I'm doing," and I'm like, "Shut up." But anyways, so I don't know. I'm gonna replace it at some point. We gotta buy one and what. But then suddenly it's not a cold room anymore, so I can't leave a bag of potatoes, a bag of carrots, and a bag of onions or apples down here anymore, because now it's suddenly got heat, you know. But whatever. Yeah, but Simon, what's the point of having the? I thought it was like a full-on chisel. What you're saying is it's just a square-ended knife. I don't know why I would want that. We're at the end of the beer. Unlike Mr. Mike and Joe, I'm only having one. I did bring tea, though. Because I always bring tea. Just make sure I'm not boiler room just pulling my chain. Yeah, I know. I know. Taking a look. Well, no one's going to suggest online retail therapy to me tonight. Let me just see. Oh, I got a message from my buddy Eric Schmaltz, who is not watching this stream, even though he said he would try. I'm about to give him hell for that. Oh, he's got 4 new piglets. Oh, great. Now, sign. Now, come watch my, no, I'll be nice, live stream. I love that guy. You know, since starting the whole YouTubeage, I have met so many really nice people, man. So many people that I really... You know what, Mr. Boiler Room? I know they got breakers. I got a room full of them right through that door. Funny thing, I don't know, it's funny because you just reminded me. How many of you have the breaker box properly labeled? Like where it's legible and is labeled and everything is clear. How many of you? Because I don't understand the writing that whoever, put that box in. I don't understand. I think may as well have been a surgeon. And so every time we got to do something, it was like, click. Is that it? No, that was the bathroom. Click. Is that it? No, that was the den. Click. Is that it? I can't see. Click, click, click. Click. Is that it? Okay. Does everyone have to go through this? Because in our last place, it was the same problem. And the place before that, we still had fuses. Yeah, some of you guys, some of you old folk who are like 42, you'll remember fuses, right? You know, the round ones that you'd screw in. I miss fuses. I mean, breakers are better and everything, but I miss living in places that were that old, I guess. And that makes no sense because these places were always falling apart. But I just have fond memories of certain things. Like when I was a kid, and the only thing I had to worry about was whether or not I was getting an allowance. And the kitchen had a fuse box in it. Like I associate certain really old things like that with, man, my life was simple then. Yeah, you know? My breaker box is clearly labeled. I built my house 9 years ago and did all the electric myself. All the power to you, man. Especially because when I was working in construction, that was like my first summer job as a teenager. I did it for 5 years in a row in Vancouver, right when the housing boom first struck. And in just the 5 years when I was working there, what constituted a supporting beam went from something really substantial to something scarily small. And I always thought that, if you build your own house, you're always going to over-engineer it a bit. And I think that's what you need to do because, man, the standards these days are nothing compared to what they used to be, So I definitely, I think that's the way to go. If you guys can build your own house, it's fabulous. Oh, excuse me. Tube and knob wiring. Oof. That's the thing. Like Simone says, 1 in 100 breaker panels are properly labeled. As the wife and I tried to do it. I think, like, on the door, of the breaker box, there's a list in my handwriting, which is also illegible, but at least I can read it. And I think it's proper. I think. Every now and again, say click. No, actually, that's not it. Shoot. I know I just heard something weird, but I don't know what happened. I don't know where it went. Or what it was. Whatevs, right? Anyway. Well, I'm sure glad I got none of these done tonight. Your next test will all be 2x6 studs. 2x6? It's gonna be some thick walls, man. You doing like rammed earth or something? Jeff also had tubes before. Interesting. I would love to build a post and beam house, Simo. I would love that. I wonder sometimes if I have like a romanticized image of what that would be like, but you know what I liked, one of the things I liked about working in construction was falling into my bed every night exhausted, like just wrecked from a day of good, honest labor. That's, you know, it's funny because that's a really specific feeling that not everyone gets to feel, and that it's a kind of exhaustion that, to me anyways, doesn't suck. Like it's an exhaustion that I have earned. And even today when that happens, when I've just like, man, I've been doing something heavy and labor intensive, and by the time I get to bed I just like, universe, don't make a sound until 6 tomorrow morning. It's a good feeling, man. It's a really good feeling. And you don't get that sitting at a desk and the way I do these days, that's for sure. But you know, Eric's here. I was just talking about you. I was just mentioning that you got some new puppies, by which I meant piglets. I don't know why I said puppies. Hold on, folks. I'm getting a battery pack for my phone because it's about to go on me. I think I brought it back. Yes, I did. This is the block I used last time, isn't it? No. This beats the block. Give me a second, folks. I'm just going to plug this in here. No, iPhone. Okay, good. And hit the button. And we should be good. Right? Are we good? Okay. Well, that was awkward. 2x4 interior partitions are code in the US. Yeah, here too. Absolutely. So Eric, my plan for today was to drill these and glue them up, and I have done not even one. So, epic fail. I did, however, have a little can of Matante, a blonde ale, and you got some piglets. So I think that today is just fabulous. You know, it's funny because today was not fabulous. We got a new iPhone for my mother-in-law because she's starting to slow down, I guess, and she lives out in the rurals and can't always be contacted. So my wife was like, no, we're getting her a phone. So that's blah, blah, blah. And her car's sort of getting old, so if it you know, dies on her on the side of a highway, you know, she's got to be able to call CAA Quebec or whatever. But you know what? I'm so tired of these companies just taking us for granted, man. It's like no one can get the job done anymore because all they're doing is checking off boxes. So if you have any kind of alternative request, like say, can you send this phone to my work address under my name? no ma'am, we can't because the account is under your husband's name. It's like, this is not the kind of customer service that we deserve. We give you guys money every month. Make us happy. And not a single bloody cell phone company in this country knows how to do customer service. They know how to suck money right out of my wallet. They know how to, especially, you know, the one I'm with, they know how to take everything they can from me if I'm across the border. But they don't know how to make me happy to be with them. You know? And we pay heavy in this country, man. We pay heavy freaking price. Some of the people I know, it's funny, I'm all like, I can't even talk anymore. I know people who, if they go to the UK, they don't bother getting a roaming package from Rogers or Fido or blah or blah or blah. They just buy a phone. Well, they bring their phone, but they just buy a SIM card while they're over there, pop it in, and pay a fraction of what we pay on the day-to-day without all the long-distance crap. And I'm just so tired of these companies just taking whatever they want from me, you know? And I'm pissed because Canadians aren't coming together with me on this. We just accept this crap. We just turn and cough for, you know, gas companies, for phone companies, for cable companies, you name it. We just take it, man. Drives me crazy. Drives me absolutely bonkers. It's like, you know, this thing about Hawaii is trying to pass laws about loot boxes in video games. I don't know if a lot of you guys play video games. I really do. But not anymore, because I'm just too busy. I'm throwing a lot of energy into this channel. You know, I'm going to try to do one of these live streams every week. I'm trying to get a video up every week. That takes up a lot of my evenings. So I don't play a lot of games, but I've always sort of seen dollar for dollar a video game as being a better investment than a movie. Because if you watch a movie and it sucks, that's a big freaking, that's an expensive mistake. If you play a video game and it sucks, you can still probably get a good 20 hours out of it before you're like, you know what? That's an aside. But several U.S. states are taking a stance on the loot box controversy. They're trying to get these labeled as gambling. The latest Star Wars game, Battlefront 2, is like the poster child for this. This is the game that cost EA like $3 billion in stock prices, and just like, anyways, if you're not into games, you're not going to care. But what's cool about that is people in Europe and in the US are acting on this bloody predatory practice. Nothing in Canada. I wrote to my MP. I wrote to my MNA. That's the provincial version. Well, in Quebec it's an MNA. In some provinces it's an MLA. In, I think, Ontario or BC or whatever, it's an MPP. MPP is member of the provincial parliament. MLA is member of the legislative assembly. MNA here in Quebec is member of the National Assembly, because Paris has a National Assembly, so Quebec City must have a National Assembly. But anyways, okay, Eric's out to check on the minis. Man, 4 new ones, cool. Where was I? Anyways, I'm tired of Canadians not standing up. You know, Quebecers will stand up for stuff, but why doesn't everyone else do it in this country, you know? Eric, I will expect a full-on report on those little piglets. I'm just going back to check out and make sure I didn't miss anyone. You guys are talking about the 2x6s. Jeff says squirrel. Okay. Public Wireless, no, we don't have. It's 22:17. Okay, we're gonna cut it short pretty soon here, guys. But anyway, I don't know how I ended up on that. Why did I start talking about that? Whatevs, right? Tenenbaum, yeah, man, it's late for you. Have a good sleep, and I'm gonna drop you and I'm gonna drop you a note about the gloves that we talked about. I'm having a hard time making decisions on that. But yeah, I'll drop you a line at some point soon. So have a good sleep, Tenenbaum. Yeah, 2x6s, maybe for exterior walls, but man, even then, you're losing. I'm just trying to think because like if you use 2x6s, you're losing what's a 2x6? Is it 5.5 inches wide? Yeah, just man, I wouldn't want to give up that much space all the way around a house, you know. Interesting. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. That was classy, eh? Yawning right in your faces. I'm just seeing what I got here. So peak concurrent was 11 people watching. I don't know how many people are watching right now. It's weird that it doesn't give me like a live number of how many people are watching right now. Anyway. Yeah. Was there anything else I wanted to talk to you guys about? It's funny because my plan was to do these and I didn't do them. So now I feel like I'm like, wow, okay. By the next one, I will have made a major decision on how I'm gonna do this. Hey, before I go, so like let's stay on for another 10 minutes or so. Tell you what, it's 22:19. It's 10:19 right now. At 10:30, I'm gonna end it no matter what. Okay. Question for you guys: are Tuesday nights okay, or would Wednesday nights be better? I'm not sure how much I can move on the time. Maybe I can go to 8:30. Maybe it depends. I can try for next week if you guys want. I don't even know if I'm really going to keep this up every week, but I'd like to. I really like seeing... What I love is seeing real-time you guys asking questions and talking to each other. Anthony, good night. Have a good sleep. But Tuesday's all right? Wednesday's better? If I can move it to 8:30, would that be better for you guys? I know it'd be better for poor dudes like Tenenbaum who's in Europe. You know. But anyways, let me know. Actually, you can let me know on my Facebook page too, right? You know, you don't have to try and pound it in here before I. Joe's Neon. All right, let's keep it going until at least 10:45 then, because. Jeff, both days are good for you? Okay. Cool. Anytime. So yeah, just because I'm wondering, you know, like, for instance, tonight, I had a meeting at school and the chairperson of the Parents Participation Organization. So I had a meeting and it was going late and I was like, I gotta get home. But man, it makes Tuesdays really long. But I don't remember why I picked on Tuesday. I think it was just like I don't want to do Monday because you never know. But like Tuesday and Wednesday always seem to be kind of a safe choice. Then once you get to Thursday, if people have things Thursdays and Friday, people are, you know, apparently out dancing or whatever. But I have a kid. I don't remember what Friday night actually felt like. So I don't know. But if you guys think that this is fine, then there's no reason to change, you know? Yeah, right. Yeah, thanks, Outdoor Dauber. Nice to see you. If you're actually signing off, then have a good night. I'll speak to you next time. Joe's Neon has several double bit axes that I want. In fact, when I got my first double bit... Jeff, our video says Leafs 2, Panthers 3, final in overtime. So was that a shootout? It's funny because one of these two, I dropped Joe a note or sent him an Instagram or something saying, I finally got a double bit. I don't remember which. Joe, do you remember? Was it the Norland or was it the maker? What's this? Maker's Myth? Jesus, what's this? More Maker. Do you remember which one it was? I have to do a video on this one soon. I have many things I have to do soon. I found out many of the questions I had about this axe in that previous video. I found out the answers. I wrote them a note, an email, and they got me answers like really fast. Oh, it wasn't a shootout. Oh, that's good. I mean, nobody wants to win or lose on a shootout, eh? Especially in the Olympics. Yeah, it's funny because now that I got this Norland, this little Norland saddle cruiser, I'll never be able to afford, but I would love to get one in better condition. If it still had some of the red on it, but like I would love to, because this one's not, I mean, it's a nice axe, but like, the edges, the sides don't match. It's been ground down a lot. Man, it's nice and sharp. But I would love to get one that's in. Do you guys remember when Wrangler Star got ahead and he hung it? He's like, wow, look at this little Norland saddle cruiser. And I was like, yeah, look at that little Norland saddle cruiser. Damn it. And I want a full-size double bit too. And it's funny because I don't know how much I would use a double. In the way I do forest stuff. I don't know how much I would use a double, but I don't know. I've always kind of had a real sort of interest in them, and it's the reason I'm saying I'm not sure how much I would use one is because I do use the pole of an axe a lot, and you can't do that with a double. There are a lot of things. Sorry, folks. I'm bushed. There are a whole bunch of. Hold on a second. Simon and Jeff are talking hockey. But yeah, and it's funny because I think, Joe, I told you that I'm really specific about the shape that I like. Actually, I told all of you guys this because I think I was talking about it in a live stream. Like, I don't like it to be too flat. This is why that, the newish council tool, the double, the saddle cruiser that people are going crazy about because it's, let's face it, really nice. I like it to have more curve than that, especially like the top can be fairly flat or come up a little bit. The bottom can be much more curved, but like that's a shape I like, I don't like it when it's like throwing axe shaped. That doesn't do it for me, but there's a whole bunch of Collinses that are like that. I don't remember the name of that pattern though, because I don't know much. My double bit knowledge is shaky at best because I haven't had doubles up until this year when I suddenly got two little tiny ones. But Yeah, I'd like a nice full-size one. I have to like restore half these axes. I'm not getting to my stuff, guys. I'm not doing my stuff. What is up with that? Half hatchets are the way to go. Yeah, Simo's got a bunch of half hatchets. Joe's Neon doesn't remember. Damn you, mister. Yeah, I want to get a few, I'd like a nice little cruiser, and I'd like a full-size double. You know what I would like to do? I would like to put together, is it called the Nesmuk Trio, right? Little double bit axe, little pocket knife, and a little belt knife. I'd like to put that together and then do a video of a weekend overnighter with it's the Nesmuk Trio, right? That's what they call it? That's what I'd like to do. I see everything as I want to do a video on now, you know? So I'd like to do a video on like how do I rethink, because sometimes, especially if I'm doing kindling or something, right? What I do is I randomly had wood there. Right, what I do is I for small pieces, I put the axe on, I put the axe on, and then I baton it. Boom, 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 going down. That's just something I started when I started teaching Camille about fire lay. And I wasn't going to go, boom, try that, Camille. I was like, okay, hit it on the top with a big piece of wood. And like, obviously I can't do that with a double. So I would like to do a video on how I have to rethink my axe work when I don't have a pole to lean on, Matt Lasky, hi. How's it going, mister? But I mean, look, I'm not buying a bunch of axes right now. It's just sort of like in the future. I'm going to keep an eye out at some point. Splitting cleavers for beef or pork? Eric is, Jaegerheim is asking, anyone out there hear of a source for antique splitting cleavers for beef or pork? I believe they're varied in size according to the animal being halved. How big is that beef splitting cleaver, dude? Well, like, what's the length of a blade on that? Uh-oh, video stream degradation. No! Am I still degraded? Yeah, boiler room. Yeah, I know, and I would do the same. That's what I like. Some of these modern doubles, like this little Moore Maker one, both sides are the same. What's the point? I want one to be a little more blunt and one to be a little sharper. Because if I want to try out the double bit, I want to try it out the way it's meant to be. So anyone know about splitting cleavers? I've never even heard of a splitting cleaver. I know that I would like to get an antique cleaver and restore it for kitchen use. But I don't think that's the same thing. I'm just talking about the butcher's cleaver, I'm going to look up a splitting cleaver. Beef splitting cleaver. Let me see. Jesus, they're huge. Wow, and $300. I mean, this one is not antique, but oh my gosh. This is the product description. Okay, this is at Baronix Knife. You guys who are really into knives probably know Baronix Knife because they're sort of a good name in selling quality stuff. Product description. There are simply no words to describe the feeling of awesome power that holding this cleaver bestows its welder. Used historically for splitting the carcasses of large animals for market, the beef splitter cleaver is still useful today to the homesteader or small-scale seasonal butcher for processing livestock or large game. I wonder if I can get this picture to show on the camera. Look at that cleaver. I almost did a scrambled dough there and said, look at that cleaver, boy. But I figured, you know. Jeez Louise, that's a big freaking knife. Hold on. Did I miss anything? Oh, Jeff is out of here. Okay, have a good night, mister. Eagerheim. Matt saw one at an antique store for $150 in Michigan, which is a hell of a long way away from Saskatchewan where you are. But I don't know. I'm going to keep an eye out for that. And then I'll restore it. I'll sharpen it up good. I'll make a leather sheath for it. I'll wear it on my belt when I go to the store. Anyone gets in my way, boom, boom. Done. Dear RCMP, I was only kidding. I'm not really going to do that. I don't know why the hell I'm drinking tea at 10:30 at night. I'm just going to be up and bouncing all night or going pee all night. What? Oh no, I just knocked all the the birch bark over. Tabernouche. Actually, I'm surprised that Simon hasn't said anything about a splitting cleaver. Man, you know everything about large bladed objects. Letting me down a little bit there, buddy. And Josie on beer, yeah. Oh, heading down to Traverse City, eh? Oh, Joe's Neon. This is what I had tonight. Ma Tante by Archibald. It's a blonde ale. Ma Tante is kind of like a... In English, we tend to say grandma when you're talking about someone old-fashioned. Ma Tante literally means my aunt. But the way we say it in Quebecois, there's a real sort of like... You know... stuck in the past aspect. There's, also mon oncle, my uncle. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's like saying, okay, slow down there, Grandpa. This is the way we do it now. Simone, me too. I want a broad axe too. Man, I want to hew a beam. I want a hewing axe. I want to hew a beam. I want to hew a beam. Am I being clear? I want to hew a fucking beam. I should not have said that word. I want to hew a beam like you wouldn't believe. I watch YouTube videos of guys like chop the hewing axe, the other axe, and then the what else do they use? Like a large adze. Like I watch the process. I watch every video of hewing a beam I can, and I have this dream of one day getting my damn garage redone and hewing the beams for it myself with a big freaking axe. I want to hew a beam. Am I clear enough? So yeah, I do keep an eye out for a big hewing axe, but man, at the Marché aux Puces in Saint Eustache, I found one, but it was like $300, and it was in garbage condition. I went to La Chute. I saw one for $250. It was in terrible condition, and I have yet to see one at Finnegan's Market. I feel that guys who are in Maine can find anything, and guys who are in Quebec can find nothing. But yeah, I want a big hewing axe, and I want to hew a beam. How am I doing on signal here, guys? Am I dying again? Did I die? Primary stream. Boom, boom, boom. Now my health is good again. It's weird. I keep dropping out, but then coming back. There we go. But I still do want a cleaver as well, Simo, for the kitchen. I'd like to get an old one and clean it up good. I think it would be a nice addition to the kitchen stuff. But you know what? The knife that I rehandled back in the spring or the summer, the handle's coming off. Like maybe using. There are a couple of issues that it could be. One is I shouldn't have just used like 5-minute epoxy. 2, maybe I shouldn't have used fiber liners on a kitchen knife. Maybe because they get wet so often. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. Jägerheim, man, that's weird. And no, let's not do that. When I said I want to hew a beam, that's not what I was talking about. But anyways. Yeah. Have any of you guys watched that TED Talk, Have Broadaxe Will Travel? Let me just see if I got that name right. Like the Roy Underhill TED Talk. It was at TEDx somewhere. Yes, TEDx Raleigh. Have Broadaxe Will Travel. Roy Underhill. 2011. Do you guys watch a lot of Roy Underhill? I like him for the same reason I like, some of those guys I was telling you about. Like, he's got like an old school kind of comfort food feeling when I'm watching him. Okay, so Boiler uses 5-minute epoxy as well. But yeah, that TED Talk by Roy Underhill, Have Broadaxe Will Travel. I've watched that a few times. I like the old school feel of a good axe and, old tools and doing stuff that way. It's funny because I'll say that it feels like it's more honest work, and that's BS. There's hard work being done these days, and you can do hard work and honest work with a Fiskars with a plastic freaking handle, but there's something about classic tools. When I walk into the forest, I like to have as little totally modern stuff as possible. And that's because I don't approach the woods like a backpacker does, or like a mountain biker does. I approach the woods as a way of getting away from modernity. I'm not a survivalist, right? I'm not a prepper. I'm very specifically a bushcrafter. And though these things are all related, the day-to-day aspect of what you do as a bushcrafter in the woods is different than what you do as a survivalist or a prepper or a backpacker who's like titaniumed up the wazoo to get the weight off, And so I like wooden handles. I like old school metal. I like lighting fires with let's face it, ridiculous techniques. In a world with so many different kinds of lighters and matches, why the hell would anyone use a ferro rod? I'll tell you why. Because that's the point, And Roy Underhill, I don't know if he still has the PBS series, but he used to have a wood shop series on PBS, and it was always like hand tools and old-fashioned ways of doing stuff. And the guy dresses like, he's lived in the 20s, for God's sakes. But I like that stuff. it does my soul good to watch people work with a drill like this instead of an electric one, with an axe instead, with a wooden handled axe, an old council tool, like an old Snow and Neely, an old Gransfors, hell, even a modern Gransfors, because they make them, in a style that makes me feel like this makes no sense, but the way they're made is old school enough for me, kind of thing. All this stuff gives me the fizz, the way the uber modern axe with the plastic handle just doesn't. And it's funny because even there's a tool maker out there named Ben Orford. He makes really, really nice stuff, okay? His knives are spectacular. He makes all kinds of tools, and man, they're all nice. I have somewhere here. Nope, that's Amora. Hold on. Nope. Here we go. Alright. This is a Ben Orford Sloyd knife, okay? It's a small Sloyd knife. Let me see if I'm still on. Hey, LT Survival's here. How's it going, buddy? It's a nice handmade knife, okay? They ain't cheap, but they don't have to be. This isn't machine punched crap. This is a nice knife with I think it's a U handle or maybe elm. I don't remember. It's a typically British wood, okay? And it's it's one of those countries where I like seeing made in the UK or made in England on my stuff. But again, where it's made doesn't move me the way it does some people. But anyways, really nice stuff. But I don't want his axe. And it's a really nicely made axe. But how many of you guys are familiar with Ben Orford and his work? Before I go off on this. By the way, LT, tell me if that video's up yet or if you were just filming and it's going to go up later. Because if you were filming and you put it up, then I'll go and check it out right after this. But the thing about Ben's... Am I still streaming? Do I have to check this again? Damn you, YouTube. Well, damn you, internet connection. The health is good. Okay, sweet. Sweet. That didn't work. Sweet. Sweet? No, it's not working. Doesn't matter. It's just the axe is like... It's an axe-shaped full-tang knife. And though I can absolutely see the benefit of that in terms of weight to cutting power ratios and everything, I'm a classicist when it comes to an axe. I like them old-fashioned. I like them old. I like anything made in the 50s. I like modern stuff if it's made a certain way, right? This Wetterlings. This isn't very old at all. I think I bought it, I bought it like maybe 6 months after starting my channel, and I think I started my channel in 2010. Like, it's old enough that it has the old style maker's mark on it, which I think is the better maker's mark. But this is not an antique by any stretch, In fact, on things like Wetterlings and Gransfors, the older ones were the ones that were all ground up and kind of looked like a Canadian Tire axe. Just seeing if I have anything interesting here. Anyway, but it doesn't matter. But so even though I really like Ben Orford's work, I don't want the axe because it's not the style that gives me the fizz. It's too modern a style. Even though it's not a plastic handle, the quality of his work is fabulous. But it's not what I see when I think axe. Let me see. Got a new one last weekend and before. Yes, I saw that. Boiler Room would love to have a Liam Hoffman, but he's not waiting 2 years. I'll make my own. Well, I can't make my own. I have no experience or room for blacksmithing. For for me, waiting 2 years for a Liam Hoffman isn't an issue, because it means I have 2 years to get the money up. I would love a Liam Hoffman axe. I don't even know which one I would want. Nothing too small, like his tiny hatchet I don't want, because I've already got a tiny hatchet, and you know what? The quality of this Wetterlings is great. Except for one small problem, which I haven't talked about on camera in a long time. But when you get to, look, when it's handmade tools, there's always a sling or an arrow somewhere. See how it's, you see how it's just a little off center, the grind? I've been very, very slowly correcting it for a long time here. Let me see if, it doesn't show up a lot on camera, but the problem with this very slightly off center grind, you see how, right? And the problem with that is, if I was left-handed, it would be fine, because it would dig in more if I'm hacking like this. But because I'm right-handed, it does tend to glance off a little bit. But I don't want to take a grinder to it, because I don't want to, I fear ruining the temper. See how it just sort of, pretty sure I would not have that problem with a Liam Hoffman, but it's a tiny thing. It's a tiny thing. But yeah, if because I think Liam's order book is closed right now anyway, isn't it? Because if I could make an order now and give him whatever the does he take a 50% deposit, or does he take 25? But like, anyways, what I'm saying is, yeah, I don't mind the wait for a Hoffman or a Northman or an Oddsson or anything like that, because it just gives me more time to get the money together and to anticipate, No, I haven't carved any spoons lately, because I'm putting so much more work into my channel, and I've got the parent organization that I'm chairing, and the school governing board, and I'm working full-time hours. I'm running out of time, but I'm gonna get back to it once the warmer gets weather. None of you heard that. Once the weather gets warmer, and I can sort of sit around outside and make sawdust wherever I want, I'm gonna get more into the carving again. And I have sort of an open invitation out to some carvers in my area to come over and make an afternoon of it. His stuff is on hold. He's going for his journeyman license. Okay, so that might end up being longer than a 2-year wait for a Hoffman axe then. Yeah, I gotta get these tools back into action. I gotta start kicking out some more spoons. But one of the problems is, there's another freezer like this right over there that was full of wood, and then when we got this half a pork, half a pig, a lot of the wood had to come out, and so now what I've got is a bunch of dry wood. And the whole idea of Sloyd is that you work with green wood because you get a better result, So I gotta find a birch somewhere and take some pieces or chop one down or whatever. So I don't know. I want to get back into it. This axe right here, this carving axe of mine, this was expensive as hell. I gotta get more spoons happening just to make this axe worthwhile, or just to justify owning it. Such a weird looking axe, eh? Every time this axe comes on screen, I have to talk about how much of an ugly duckling it is, but how, knowing what's expected of it, it's actually the perfect freaking shape. It's absolutely, it's like, it's heavier than you would necessarily want for a carving axe, I find. Like, a lot of the really expensive ones are really, really light, but I'm very glad to have this axe. KS, can you guys see that? Of course, it's going to be backwards, but anyways. KS. My SFA is AS, which is probably going to look like SA in the screen, but don't believe everything you read. I only have 2 ground spurs, eh? Yeah, 2 ground spurs, 3 Wennerlings. I'm just going to have to get another ground spurs. I'd like to get the carpenter's axe. No. For the carpenters, I would probably go for like a Holtz Brooks or something. What I would like to get on the ground spurs side is the hunting axe. I've had a yen for that one for years. And it's, man, the price just keeps going up. And it's funny, when I first got my yen for these things, Jaegerheim, no, I don't think they've caught up with demand yet. Are you talking about Neiman that is now called Northman, or are you talking about Neiman that's now called Otsun? Because remember when the companies split, there was a whole lot of contention over who got to keep the name, and so now neither of them have. But yeah, there's a bunch of Northman axes I would love, but one day. But that's the thing, as I was saying about the Liam Hoffman, is I have no problem with waiting a long time, because I can't afford one of these axes if I'm not waiting a long time to pay it off, you know. But yeah, I don't know if Northman's order book is open again yet. Interestingly, I was at their website recently, and they no longer offer those bows. Like, I don't know how those guys are doing it, because it's a collective now, right? So I don't know if the guy was working with them for a while and then just went off to do his own thing again, or if there was no market for bows, so it wasn't worth it. I don't know. Does anyone know? Because remember they were doing like those English style long bows for a while? Yeah, so a hunter's, the carpenter's axe by any of the Swedish guys would probably do me fine. But Gransfors' hunting axe. And it's funny because as I was saying, like when I first noticed it and first thought, wow, I want that, it was like $130. And now it's like $190. And I still don't have it. And the longer I wait, the more expensive it's going to get. Funny how that works, eh? But it's not a priority because I haven't gone hunting for the past few years. But I haven't gone hunting for the past few years, so it was hard to sort of make that a priority. Like I have other things that are more of a priority, either to make my filming better or just to fill out my bushcraft toolkit, you know? Yeah, Simone, that's the thing, right? I feel about axes the way I feel about bass guitars. When I'm buying a bass guitar, the sweet spot for price performance is probably around $2,000. More than that, and like the returns are diminishing. So once you get to Sadowski money, you know, you're throwing like $5,000 or $6,000 at a bass. You're getting into status buy territory, you know. I mean, and I'm very happy to have my Sadowski. It's got a sound that nothing else has. I get that, but when you get into boutique bass territory, you're getting into status buy territory. Because let's face it, you play a Fender, everyone knows what it sounds like, and it's a good bass generally. For axes, I feel the same way. Once you go north of the Wetterlings or Gransfors territory, your returns are diminishing pretty hardcore. And it used to be like Council Tool was probably the sweet spot, but they're pretty expensive now too. Like unless you go for their bottom end ones. Like if you're going Velvet Cut, if I'm spending Velvet Cut money, I'm buying a Gransfors or I'm buying something Swedish. You know, because I find the look is better. I like the feel. I know what to expect off of. I keep wanting to say Wetterlings or Gransfors, but Wetterlings is gone, so shut up, Jesse. But I know what to expect from a Gransfors. Even if it's a model I've never held before, when I pick it up, I know what's going on. You know. Oh yeah, so back to my point. So yeah, once you get to Neiman or Hoffman, there's a status buy aspect there. There absolutely is. I absolutely agree with you. But as someone who loves the axe the way I do, it is literally my favorite tool is the axe. I would love to have one of them, one or the other. I don't think I could justify two. I can't even really justify one of those, but I would like to one day have one of those. Absolutely. Yeah, Jägerholm remembers the bows. They were calling themselves a guild, and I think they're still calling themselves a guild, the Northman Guild or something. Something like that. You know. And I guess that's the problem with those bows. Jaeger is saying that they're pretty niche. The thing is, like, the Northman stuff is all niche. You know, like, I wouldn't buy one of their hunting knives because I guess if I was a big knife guy, I would take two. I guess if I was a big knife guy, I would feel differently about it. But I don't want to spend that much on a bushcraft knife because those are expensive. You know, those are expensive like an actual woodlore is expensive rather than a woodlore clone like my Australian one or even a jacklore or something. Jacklore. But anyway, so Autzen and Northman, they're niche. To a certain extent, Hoffman is also niche as hell, you know? Like, you really got to get access to... And I don't like Hoffman's knives either very much. Some of them are really nice, but, like, his knife style is not something that appeals to me. I have very basic tastes in knife designs. And I like time-honored designs. You know what? That statement is BS. I like time-honored designs like the Nesmuk or a Kephart. But the Woodlore is definitely not really a time-honored design. But it's probably my favorite bushcraft knife design. The Felkniven F1, not that time-honored, but that's up there too. The Hella Tamagami, I'm dying for one of those. Again, that's something that when I started dying for it was like $180, and now they're more. But that's not really a time-honored design. But there's like a unified aspect around all those sort of modern knives that I like. But, I like that Canadian belt knife, especially now that I've tried that cheap one that you lent me, Simon. I've really come around on it, Part of it is it's so ugly you gotta love it. Part of it is it's so much more comfortable than I was expecting. And I like sort of looking at it and saying this was clearly designed in the late 40s or early 50s. And this is Canadiana. Why am I... Oh, yeah. So, like, I like these really basic knife styles. Like, really, Nothing too fancy. No whatever that blood channel is called or whatever. I don't even like Bowie knives. My tastes are really, really focused. Simon telling me about his Groman again. Let me show you guys. Base Camp X, Live Your Legacy, yes sir. Because I was talking about the Basecamp X take on the Canadian belt knife, and from the comments I was getting, like almost no one knows about these guys. Back ordered, of course. They just call it the belt knife, but they acknowledge that that is literally the Canadian belt knife, like straight up. And like the price isn't bad, you know. I don't think much of Basecamp X's axes. I find that to a certain extent, you know, like companies like Best Made, they just paint up a bunch of council tools and sell them for a bazillion bucks. I'm not sure if this guy's doing the same. His axes are all that Australian. What's that Australian racing axe called? I think, you know, it's got a pin in it. The competition axe. Hold on, let me take a look. Axes just got personal. Okay. Here. Hold on, I'm just... Axes. And I made you out of clay. It made no sense. Huh. Okay. Here, take a look. Whoa! This is meta, right? Showing my... See? What's that called? A Tasmanian? It's even got like the hole in the head where it would be pinned if it was an actual competition axe. But generally speaking, I like their stuff. I like this stuff. Where are you guys? But LT, the thing about the Gromans is they're not really that expensive. You know, they're around the same price as that Basecamp X one. You know, it's not like you're spending $400, or you know, you're definitely not spending Adventure Sworn money. You know, if I was to buy the Groman, which I said in a previous video that I won't, probably, it would just be the basic number 1, like straight up classic. Ben Butler says he's got one and the cold steel version. Yeah, I know that. What's the weight difference like between the original and the cold steel? LT Survival. That belt knife I just showed was from Basecamp X. I'm about to write it in the chat. X.com. Ben keeps the Grumman in the kitchen. Man, everyone tells me it's a good cooking knife. My plan for at some point this year is to pick up a real Canadian belt knife, or probably the Basecamp X one, and just do a side by side comparison. And I'm definitely going to try them both out in a kitchen situation as well. Absolutely. Oh, okay, it's 11:05. I got stuff to do before bed, and I got to be in good condition for work tomorrow. So I am going to... Jägerheim, yeah, me too. Absolutely. So yeah, I'm going to say goodnight right now, guys. I'll speak to you later. And I'm going to make this video public. If there's anything that you guys needed me to mention or want to check back on, just leave a comment once it's up, however long it takes, and I will drop in answers. And so yeah, good night, folks. Sleep well, be safe, have a good week, and I'll see you in the next one.